Howdy, folks. We are back with a new episode of Three Men and an Anime. Huzzah!
Hooray!
This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right.
I theoretically exist.
So how does it feel being on lockdown, Gav?
Oh, it's amazing. Technically, this is the weird thing. Technically, I should actually be going to work because I work in the energy industry. Even though, from reports from work at the moment, no one's there. The managers are all working from home, and everyone else should be working from home because my department do nothing but transfer calls.
Right.
So that's critical work, you know what I mean? But because I had contact with someone who's been showing symptoms, I'm already on a 2-week lockdown anyway.
Ah.
So I'm just a little bit of cabin fever.
Just a little bit, huh?
Fever, yes.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, and now nothing's open, and the kids are still playing in the streets because, of course, this is just an extra holiday. Shoot me down. They've cancelled my Games Workshop order.
Yeah. I'm not happy about that.
I'm sorry, but yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to this supplement, dog fuckers.
Yeah, well, you know.
It's your fault, Eric. They knew you were waiting for the orcs.
They knew I was waiting for it. Damn you, coronavirus, and your cunning plans!
So this is all Nurgle's fault, is what you're saying.
It was all Nurgle's fault.
Yep.
The squishy bastard.
Still not paying my death guard. You can fuck off.
So this week, we are covering Gav's most recent series selection, Fire Force.
Yay!
Which is a relatively recent show. Ended last season, I think.
Just at the end of last season, yeah. So one of the it was like, as I said at the end of last episode, it's one of those shows that's been on my radar. We kind of watched a little bit of it as it was coming out, and then forgot to watch the rest. So we came back and did that.
Yeah, and we were complaining so much, Eric and I were. I mean, ooh.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yep.
Vile.
We really didn't want to watch this show. So no, we wanted to watch this show. So this is put out by David Productions, the people who've been bringing you the new version of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime series. Mm-hmm. This is their first sort of non JoJo show. It is based on a manga, unsurprisingly, that's been running since 2015. So
It's very recent.
It's a recent series. So, interestingly, we're talking, given the, there's something of an epidemic in this show, though it's a very different than the one we're dealing with.
It's vastly more interesting.
Slightly.
It's definitely more interesting in that sort of, may you live in interesting times kind of way.
Yeah. But you're not on lockdown. Because that doesn't help.
No! No, it doesn't. Basic premise of the show. So someone in Japan at some point invented a apparently limitless power source. What was it called?
A dollar.
No. That's the ability. That's the sort of the thing. It's
right.
The
Yeah.
Amaterasu.
The Dola Flame and the Dola
Amaterasu.
Link is
The Amaterasu power plant.
that's it. Yes.
Basically a perpetual energy machine. So yay!
Cool. Unfortunately, most of the entire world is on fire.
Literally.
Yeah, this all takes place after what they refer to as the Great Cataclysm, where the world burned essentially, and the world that we come to now is still fairly well built up, and it's more or less at a modern kind of level.
At least that part of Japan that still exists is.
Yeah, we don't see much outside of that, but yeah, Tokyo.
There's a reason for that, Gav. Most of it's still on fire.
Tokyo in and of itself still exists.
Yes.
And there's basically 3 controlling powers in the world now. There's the church, which has been reformed under the sun god.
Yep.
Who worship the great Sol, because why not? The world's burning, let's worship the fire.
To be fair, Gav, that's usually how most solutions start.
Yeah, the company that produces all the actually, second one is the actual fire department, the firefighting,
Well,
division.
it's the military. It's the military.
Oh, there's four, isn't there? Yeah, so
The fire department
it's
isn't really a power per se.
the actual okay, I'm getting myself mixed up. The
You have the fire
military,
department, which handles fires, and the fire
yes,
soldiers, which handle other things.
yeah. The reason I'm going around them and avoiding what the fire soldiers themselves is because they are an amalgamation of all three.
But there is an actual separate military apart
Yes.
from the special fire force that we focus on.
It's the church. Okay, simplifying things, it's the church, the military, and the company that provides them. That supplies them both.
Runs the power plant.
Yes. And the fire force of the title are the conglomerate kind of
Is the
the
special
investigators,
firefighting
yeah.
department. There are firefighters who are very important because they actually do fight fires.
Mhm.
And then there's fire force, which is the special fire department, which is made up of people from the church, from the company, which I'm blanking on the name of.
I think it's an H, but I can't remember.
Hajima.
Yeah, it goes, Hajima.
Hajima, and the military. Those three groups come together to make the fire force, the special fire brigades, who they also fight fires of a slightly different sort.
Now, the most common trait of people in the special fire force, they're also pyrokinetic to a degree.
Not all
at
of
least.
them, but yeah,
There are a lot of them that are.
The majority of them are. There's reasons why ours, our main non-pyrokinetic is not pyrokinetic, or rather, there's a reason he's in the fire force. But yeah, the majority they display pyrokinetic abilities, and they're used primarily to fight fires that want to fight back.
Yeah, so it turns out that there's another aspect of the whole world's on fire thing, is that people occasionally spontaneously combust and turn into fire elementals.
pretty much, yeah. They're
They become infernals.
yeah, they're called infernals, and from what I could tell, it's out of control, spontaneous manifestation of pyrokinesis.
Yes.
So it's kind of implied that some people will manifest pyrokinetic powers. Some people will just burn up, explode, burn up, and kill pretty much everyone they can until they. Burn
they go
themselves out.
completely. They basically lose all sense of self, and the implication is that infernals basically lose all sense of self and become unthinking, just wallowing beings of pain and misery that are lashing out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not so much that they're trying to kill everybody; it's just that they are in so much agony and pain that they're just lashing out at everything around them.
Yeah.
This
And the
turns
only
out to
way
not be entirely the case, as we find out. But yeah.
And the only way to put them down is basically to. It's kind of like stake through the heart kind of situation. It's to punch through their core, which is essentially where their heart is.
Yep.
It's what's burning them.
Yep. And it helps to be a powerful pyrokinetic to do that.
Mm.
Lets you not it makes it harder. It makes you more resistant to being burned to death. Seems helpful. So yeah, and the show basically follows the exploits of a rookie fire soldier by the name of Shinra. Let me get his full name here. Shinra Kusakabe, who is our main protagonist, and his fellows in the 8th Special Fire Force Company 8. The majority of our main characters are all in that department. They have a loner from another department for a while, who is basically part of the team.
Yeah.
They kind of just like just absorb people into their group as they go along.
The 8th are pretty much the black sheep of the
they are
of the fire force.
They're brand new.
They're brand new. They have the least amount of resources. They basically hang out in a So remember that bit from that firehouse from Ghostbusters?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if that was designed by the guy that did Soul Eater, which it was.
Yep.
And they didn't have any money to build a giant nuclear reactor in the basement.
But it was also once a
That's them.
church.
And there's also once a church.
Yeah, that's another part of it as well. Yeah, all the fire stations, all the fire force stations, are all basically they're all, again, the link of the church.
All but
itself.
one of them.
All but one. Yeah. They're basically, they're all, fire chapels or something like that.
They all have a chapel except for one. That's the 7th, and the 7th is awesome. I came to really like the 7th, honestly.
Yeah.
They're kind of great.
The 5th doesn't have one either, does it?
No, they do.
Do they?
They do. But
Oh yeah, no. The big fight between Shinra and what's her name takes place in the chapel.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
For all the lovely symbolism that happens in that scene, because there's a lot of it. By the way, the show is not subtle.
No.
Not at all.
But yeah, basically, so we'll go through all the characters in a minute. The basic plot of the show is Shinra wants to wants to do the thing because he wants to be a hero because he failed to protect his mother and his baby brother when basically an infernal blew up their house. There's more to it than that as we go along. A lot of people thought it was his fault when his pyrokinesis manifested. It not.
He also has a nervous tick where he grins whenever he's upset or nervous or scared. He just big grin. It doesn't help that he's got pointy teeth because pointy teeth are cool.
He comes across as like a real manic, maniac kind of smile, which is, again, why people thought, he was sad and upset, and people are accusing him of burning his family, and he starts smiling. So it doesn't help.
No, because Shinra's really just a nice guy, honestly. Like he's
pretty much your typical shonen protagonist.
Smarter than most.
Guy, he's boisterous. He's tries really hard. He's your general shonen protagonist.
He's reasonably bright though.
Yeah, he's not an idiot. Arthur takes up the part about being an idiot.
Oh lordy, yes.
No, he's not. He's relatively sensible, but he's not a smart person. But he's not he's not an educated man, but he's not dumb. He's not. He's most of his education has come through joining the military and becoming a firefighter. Exactly. Yeah, he's not book smart, but he knows his shit.
Yeah.
Also, he saves a fortune on shoes.
Yeah. Well, his pyrokinesis manifests around his feet primarily, so shoes don't really last very long for him.
No, he doesn't bother.
He wears flip flops most of the time when he's wearing anything.
Yeah, his pyrokinesis manifests through the bottoms of his feet, really, and this means exactly what you think it means. He flies around on foot jets, and it's awesome.
He's great. I love watching him fight. The way he fights, he does a lot of basically capoeira. It's really cool.
Yeah.
He is one of the most fun characters to watch fight I've seen in some time. Really.
He quite often goes into like a handstand, like spinning bird kick, which looks like a fucking Catherine wheel.
It's amazing.
But yeah, he's all flying around, super speed and kicks, and rider kicks, and as I say, spinning bird kicks, and all kinds of stuff. But
he's legitimately doing capoeira for parts of it.
Oh yeah.
Lots of rocket-powered diving kicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very fun to watch.
Noriko would be proud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Though he never once calls it a lightning kick. Mind you, his feet are on fire, so I can't blame him. But still.
And he very much wants to be a hero. He is all about being a hero.
Yes, because that's sort of the promise he made to his mom before the bad things happened. And he wants to protect people and help people and be a good guy. And because, he wants to be a beacon of hope in this really shitty world. Because, so that's sort of his goal. The 8th actually has a goal. in theory, the goal of all the Fire Force departments is figure out what the fuck is causing the people to turn into infernals. What the fuck? Why are people spontaneously combusting? That is, in theory, the goal of all the departments. Some of them are doing it in different ways than others, shall we say.
They're all pretty secretive in their own rights. Every division, like, they don't... It's not that they don't get along, but they all stick to their own jurisdiction, and that is it.
They don't
There's
generally
a lot of
communicate with each other that much.
They don't share with anything unless there's a call from like from on high.
Yeah.
They don't socialize or intermix or anything like that.
There are events where like the rookies will like go to, they have like a rookie competition, and they'll occasionally like send rookies to train with a different department to get a little bit of cross training.
Mm-hmm.
They do that apparently occasionally, but because Shinra and Arthur do that at one point.
Yep.
With the first. And yeah, so but the 8th was put together by by Obi, their captain, who is Obi is awesome.
Obi's pretty damn cool.
Obi's a legend.
Yeah.
Obi's a giant brick of a man who is also a cinnamon bun.
Yep. Also is also much smarter than he lets on.
He very much likes to give the impression of the big dumb meathead, but is probably the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah. There are a few people. There is at least one person who ends up being two people who end up being a part of the 8th who are probably smarter than he is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But they don't show up till later. But yeah, Obi's plan is basically, okay, none of the departments are talking, and clearly something fucky is going on with all of this. I don't trust any of these assholes. So I'm putting this together. I got this together got this department made through sheer force of personality to investigate the other departments, figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, the 8th are basically internal affairs.
Kinda, yes.
Yeah.
Without any of the authority of internal affairs.
He doesn't actually have the authority to do this.
But the thing is, the other departments don't know that they're internal affairs either. That's the thing. That's why there is no authority, because it's all on the low. Yeah.
Now, some of them figure it out pretty quickly. The 1st and the 5th figured it out real fast.
Yeah.
The fifth a bit too late to prevent what happens. But it turns out probably for the best. And as they go along investigating stuff, we uncover the conspiracy behind one of the major what is probably the conspiracy behind the creation of human elementals, the infernalization, and spontaneous combustion, and there's a doomsday cult. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's messy. Lots of shit going on, and yeah. So basically, it all leads to a big confrontation with the armed forces of the conspiracy. And that's where the first season roughly ends, with uncovering a large chunk of what. Wow, look, there's bad shit going on behind the scenes. I wonder how high and they had moles inside the Fire Force, unsurprisingly. I wonder how high the corruption actually goes, and we don't find out how high the corruption goes in this season. There's more. I'm guessing we'll find out. There'll be more people who turn out to be working with the bad guys.
Yeah.
Basically, when the season ended, I was like, "Wait, that's it? You just opened up this whole other plot point. You can't just end it like that."
Season 2
you are no coming. Game, no life.
Season 2 is coming.
Season 2 has been already announced. In fact, I think it's due next month.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, all being well, anyway.
Yeah. It's this summer, apparently, from what I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. But I mean, back to the characters themselves. I mean, I just want to go back with Obi, because.
Well, we should talk about the character. Yeah, I just want to get the rough overarching plot of the show before we start talking about the characters. So that's the basic sort of arc of the show. There's a lot of there's some fighting against Infernals, but it's primarily conflict between the departments, between the brigades, leading up to the big conflict with the evil people.
Yes.
That's sort of the rough sort of structure of the show. I will say this, if you've seen Soul Eater, some of this will end up feeling a little familiar.
Yeah. Largely because it was written, the manga was written and by the same guy that did Soul Eater.
Yep.
So
there are definite differences, though, but there are some thematic ideas that sort of permeate both series, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, we should talk about the rest of Department 8 because they're kind of awesome.
So just touching back on Obi, one thing I do want to mention with him, Obi really should be. I forget the term for the male version. Basically, the Mary Sue. He really should, because he has all the. He has the wisdom. He's got the brain. He's the heart of the team. The majority of the time as well. Good God, he is. But he's a badass combatant in his own right. Phenomenally strong. And does it all without any fucking powers.
A lot of that is there's not a lot of focus on Obi because he's in charge. He's not the protagonist.
That's the thing. He's basically a better Batman.
He's different. I mean, the thing is, okay, Obi is a badass. He is also
fair enough. Like he is a better Batman because he's not a billionaire. So
yeah, fair.
Automatically.
But yeah, so he's okay. Obi is a good guy. He's a really good guy, and everybody likes it. Like everybody who talks to him likes him. Even people who protest that they don't. If you're a decent person, you end up liking Obi. He's multiple people in the department are there entirely because he's running things.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, the lieutenant, who is like, yeah, I have no loyalty to the fire force, anything like that. I'm here because Obi's here. I trust this dude. The big thing is Obi was a regular firefighter. Yeah. And now he's on the fire force, and he's one of those very rare, I'm on the fire force and have no powers.
Yeah. Are we into spoilers at the moment?
Sort of. I want to talk sort of I want to sort of talk more
about
broad,
the other characters.
Yeah, I want to sort of do broad strokes on the
characters. Talk about the real star of the show, which is Arthur.
Arthur's hilarious and great, but he's not the star of the show.
No, he's not. I really like Arthur. Arthur's dumb as a stump.
Arthur is also Shinra's rival.
Yeah, he's Shinra's primary foil. He's dumb as a stump. He's got he's a knight king, because knights are better than heroes, and kings are better than both. So he's a knight king.
Well, he basically called himself a knight until basically, he and Shinra knew each other, were rivals at the academy. And Arthur is all about being a knight. And Shinra pointed out that, heroes are cooler than knights. But I'm a knight king, and that's cooler than the hero. To which Shinra's just like, I give up. They can't stand each other.
Yeah. And his pyrokinesis manifests in a hyperdense beam of plasma that's about 3 feet long and looks great in the end of a hilt. So he's got a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which he calls Excalibur.
Because of course he does. He does need a hilt of some sort to manifest it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He shows like at various stages where he's got like mini hilts that he'll use for like lock picking and stuff like that, which generates a smaller beam. It's like,
yeah, they generate smaller beams, and the little mini Excaliburs are basically one shots.
Yeah, he'll fashion something out of plastic. It's like a pen lid. It's like it looks vaguely cylindrical. It can shoot a beam out the top. All right, Arthur.
He needs a focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs a focus. He's dumb as a stump, and
he is
so,
not smart.
So very stump.
It borders on like, how do you breathe? Like,
there's this great bit where he's having this this fight, and it's going on, and Arthur's just getting his ass. He's like, why am I so bad at this? Why am I having such an off day? And the guy keeps on saying, that's an all guys that suck say, "Oh, it's just I'm just having a bad day. I'm so off." Blah blah blah. And Arthur like looks down at his hands, like, "Why am I holding my sword in my left hand? I'm not left-handed."
Switches his right hand and immediately
it was
kicks
not
ass.
The Princess Bride. Ah, but I was left-handed. No, he just literally forgot he was holding his left hand.
Puts it in his right hand, slashed it.
Yes.
Like overpowers him, no problem. Like, what the fuck happened? Like the guy who was like doing the cheerleading, he's like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh god. Yeah. Arthur is dumb, but he is weirdly charming.
He's
because
very
tell,
charming. Arthur is a paladin that made intelligence his dump stat.
Oh god,
yes. I think you can tell at his core, he's just like Shinra. He wants to be a hero. He wants to do what's right. It's not about even okay. He's playing up the whole knight thing, but it's not for his own aggrandizement. He's doing it because knights save people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, entirely. He's got that sort of Arthurian mythos vision of knighthood.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Not the
very
one where
much
you
all
sleep
about, like,
with
the
the king's
chivalry
wife,
of
but, you know.
everything.
Yeah, there's a beautiful episode which we'll touch on a little bit later. But yeah, actually we'll come back to that later. But my realization that he is not an Arthurian knight, but he is a very different knight, which made me very happy when I realized exactly what was going on. Oh, I was so happy about that.
There's also Maki.
Maki is best girl.
Maki is great.
Maki is one of the best characters in the show. She is fantastic.
Yes.
Maki is this like super girly. She likes flowers and cute things, and like it's all about like romance and whatnot. Even though she kind of sucks at it herself, and she just loves going on like dates with her girlfriends and hanging and just being like super happy Barbie girl. She's also completely jacked and will fuck you up.
She is probably the second most dangerous person in hand-to-hand combat in the unit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a pyrokinetic in that she can control any previously manifested flame.
Right. So there are officially 3 generations of pyrokinetics. We don't know anything about first gen pyrokinetics at all.
First gens are actually infernals.
Oh, they are. Okay, first gens are infernals. Fair enough. They have no control over over fire. Right. Second generation pyrokinetics are people who can control fire. Third gens are ones who can create fire. So Shinra and Arthur are third gen.
Yeah.
Maki is second gen in that she can control fire. She's very good at it.
She's very good at it, and she's very good at sculpting the fire.
Yeah.
To the point where she'll like just dicking around like cute little like mascots out of random flames. Who make adorable noises and are so I want one.
She also like she is bordering on immune to fire.
Yeah.
Like she will literally like huge gouts of flame coming towards her. She'll just like stand in front of the group and just like bat it to the side with with her pyrokinesis. It's awesome.
And she
like,
wears a witch's hat because she's great.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's fantastic, and she is the only person in the department who is, and one of the only people in show who we've seen who's anywhere close to her in hand-to-hand combat ability is Obi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maki is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene, not to spoil, but there's a scene later on where they all get separated and Maki ends up alone versus, like, a fucking squad of these, these bad guys.
Yeah. All of them are pyrokinetics. One of them is third gen. Yep.
All of them pyros, one of them third gen, and they're all going, oh, it's just a little girl. Strike 1. You must be low. You must be scared and terrified down here. We're going to absolutely annihilate you. Strike 2. And he just keeps going on about how he's going to be, how much of a dominant force he is, and he's going to destroy this tiny little girl. It's like, oh, son, no, just please.
You clearly can't see how jacked I am underneath all his protective gear.
And it goes exactly as you'd expect, and it's glorious.
She completely wrecks their shit. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
And it's beautifully, the fight scene is really well done.
Oh, the show is very well animated.
Yes.
Like
It's very-
see
the
where it
thing
cuts
is,
the
it's-
corners, but it does it where it needs to.
it's very well animated, but that last arc.
Yeah. Well, it's clearly that's where all the budget went. Like you could see where they cut corners in places, but it was always the animation was always there where they wanted or needed it.
Mhm.
And then last arc went, we don't need to cut corners anymore. Let's just go nuts. We'll go nuts.
That last arc is absolutely exemplary.
Yeah.
Why this didn't get as much praise? Everyone's banging on about Demon Slayer and all that kind of stuff.
It is not as
It's
technically
not as
It's not as
gorgeous
te-
as Demon Slayer.
It's not as technically gorgeous, but the fact that this wasn't even in the conversation.
To be fair, the conversation was Demon Slayer and Mob Psycho, dude. And any other season, this would have been top run. But seriously, dude.
It's
All right, fine.
Mob Psycho season 2 and Demon Slayer Demon Slayer is goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer,
Demon Slayer is a triumph of what you can do with digital animation.
and
I think the thing that gets me though is that with Demon Slayer, there's the big set pieces, though that is impressive. That final fight that everyone always talks about, that is absolutely gorgeous and impressive. The rest of the show was kind of it's okay.
all of the fight scenes are technically impressive. All of them.
Mm.
Like it is I as much as I was grousing about Demon Slayer winning best animation of the year because it was in a year with Mob Psycho season
was
2.
in the room. Yeah.
Waving his hand going, by the way,
I'm not this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is better than those two, but
oh no, I know what you're
was
saying,
impressed.
but it didn't. The other thing is, it just didn't strike as big a chord as with other shows as those two shows did.
Mm.
And the issue is entirely that the what it showed up with. Yeah.
It is it is not as innovative in any way, like writing or storytelling or character wise or animation wise, as Mob Psycho is.
No.
And it's not as groundbreaking in animation technique as Demon Slayer was. I would say that the two of them are roughly on par in terms of being pretty bog standard shonen shows. They are.
Yeah.
I think I kind of agree with Gavin that I think overall I liked Fire Force more than I liked Demon Slayer. Mm-hmm. And I really like Demon Slayer.
But I mean, even on the things.
Although Fire Force has one issue that Demon Slayer didn't have, which we'll get to.
The other thing though is that even the things that you start to forget about as you go through the show, fire is not easy to animate.
No, that is one of the big things that it's got really going.
And it's there constantly.
Yeah. No, it's one of the things I really liked about that time I was reincarnated as the slime is the fire effects in that show are fucking amazing.
Yes.
Holy fuck. But Fire Force, David Productions knocked out of the park with their both the way they were able to differentiate different people's fire powers, because everyone's superpowers is fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they managed to differentiate people's fire in very cool different ways. And part of it's drawn on the mangaka's, actual what he drew in the manga. But in order to adapt that with the use of color and sound, and it's So a lot of credit to, hang on, I gotta get the name. I gotta get the name because he deserves Okubo Sensei. Atsushi Sensei Atsushi Okubo just did an amazing work with this. Great conceptual stuff in here.
Mm.
Absolutely.
But at any rate, Maki. Back to Maki though. She's great. We adore her.
Yes.
Everyone loves Maki. They should love Maki. She is great.
As Eric mentioned as well, she has this habit of whenever she's manipulating fire, she'll inevitably create two little not avatars as such, but they're little fireballs with faces that just
Yeah.
pop up, and she names them, she plays with them, and messes around. Later on, she puts them in her fucking like support gear that she gets because they are fireballs. She can manipulate them, therefore she can make the support gear float. And oh, good lord, does she?
Yeah.
They're flying hammers.
It's great. It's so good.
And I've got a feeling she punches harder without them, but either way, they're still cool. But the thing is, she keeps doing these and all the time. Like, they're at a barbecue, she'll pull flame off the barbecue and create them. Instantly put out by the lieutenant.
Well, yes, we should talk about Lieutenant Hanawa, because Hanawa is amazing.
Yeah.
I love Hanawa.
Hanawa Hanawa is the second, like the second guy to sign on to the 8th after, well, it was Obi and him it started it, basically.
Yep.
And he's just as much a good guy, but he is so straight laced when it suits him.
The big reveal with him is that he's sort of he sort of agrees with a lot of the Doomsday cultists about like how much it's much easier, like, you know, the world really sucks and it's so much easier to just buckle down and just focus on being a cog in the machine and other, you know, having feelings and for other people and being good and doing that stuff is a lot of work and it's hard and difficult and it's like, why bother? He says, I totally understand that. I kind of agree to a certain degree. But then I see people like Obi and I realize, fuck that! Because people like Obi exist and are actually doing shit, I am totally on board. I'm still come across as a cold, emotionless asshole, but I'm not.
He's got a massive like intimidation factor because of it as well.
It's he is scary as hell.
He doesn't look.
Always has those crazy eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a big imposing frame. He's just got this glare that just goes straight through anyone.
What's interesting about Lieutenant is that for the longest time you don't realize he's a pyrokinetic until someone explains exactly what his power is.
And at first that power seems sort of, okay, that's cute. Oh God, why?
Then the shit he does with it.
Yeah, so it turns out basically he's a shooter first and foremost. Okay, that he's from the military. That's where he came from.
Okay, the important bit is he is a second generation.
Yeah.
Pyrokinetic. He can control fire. Specifically, he's good at manipulating explosions.
Yes. Like the explosions that happen as the hammer of a gun hits the bullet and causes that spark with the gunpowder. He
can dampen or enhance the explosive effect of the bullet, the black powder in the bullet being combusting. It doesn't technically explode.
Yeah.
It merely combusts violently.
And he shows us this when he shoots Arthur.
Yeah. And it's not a rubber bullet or anything like that, or no, he shoots him with a normal bullet. It's just that he damped down the explosion, so it's, you know, leaves the barrel at a speed that won't actually break skin.
Yeah.
Just give you a good thump.
Oh no, it's Shinra actually. I think
it's Shinra, yeah.
Shinra. And he's just like, oh my God, what are you shooting me for? Looks at his leg, there's no hole. What? And they explain, this is what he does, and he's, oh, okay, that's cool.
I believe he shoots Arthur in the forehead once.
I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
other big thing is that he can control the sort of the spark that's created when a bullet ricochets off of material.
He has ricochet control as well.
So he can bounce bullets around by changing the way the direction of the the quote explosive force from that. This is kind of bullshit, but we don't care. It's awesome.
Yeah, he basically can shoot around corners, but yeah, that's one of those abilities where we see, okay, that's cool, that's a nice little trick. Actually, that's really cool. Yeah, okay. And then he doesn't really do a lot for a while, and then we get to the last arc,
and he says, "Fuck this! I'm pulling out all the stops because the person up against is badass."
And then this is the thing. He has this huge bag with him. And you think, okay, what has he got in there? I mean, like a rocket launcher, some sort of fucking cannon. And he's like, he pulls it out, and it's all these metal tubes. And it's like, what? Because he fires his rifle and accelerates the bullet to its maximum velocity, turning it into a fucking tank shell.
It should be noted he's firing a a flintlock at this point because it's a lot easier to control the combustion on a flintlock than it is in a case bullet.
Yep.
Yeah, to the point where the barrel like rips open at the end, like looking like an old blunderbuss, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. So he takes the barrel off, and the metal poles are more barrels. He hasn't brought ammunition. He's bought replacement ammo, replacement barrels.
Hinal was great.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Also, he's the best cook in the department.
Yes. The lieutenant's out girling the girls. We need to do something.
He's great. We mentioned Arthur. Okay, we got the other starting member of the group that we meet is Iris. She's a nun.
Yeah.
Because the Fire Force do have the religious side of it. They have an appointed sister.
Every department has members who are anointed clergy.
Yeah.
To basically say prayers for the infernals they put down.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can
Some
go on
have higher ranks. Like I think the first have a chaplain.
Oh, the first is primarily church-based, so they've got a lot
that
of.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Virtually everybody in the first is a member of the clergy. Iris is a sweet, nice cinnamon roll of a girl who is a. She's a priest. She's a nice priest.
Mm.
That's it.
That's it. That's the only unfortunate thing with Iris is like, I mean, okay, and it's that she's there to reinforce the whole church side of it, and I'm like when they go on jobs to deal with the infernals. If you're looking at it from a logical point of view, especially from a military point of view, she's a liability. She stands at the back. Everyone has to protect her. She has no powers, no abilities. She's wearing the protective gear, but she is there to pray for the soul of the departed.
Yep,
that is it.
Which is considered an important part of
yes, it's very important as far as
particularly as far as Obi is concerned.
Oh yeah,
it's, and as far as Obi is concerned, everything they do is an act of mercy.
Yep.
And having someone, because so much of the population is religious, having someone there to perform last rites for them is very important.
Yeah, Obi makes a point of pointing out that it's not so much whether he believes.
The whole reason Obi started the 8th.
Everyone was talking for a minute there.
Am I lagging? Sorry, I'm having internet trouble.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So as I say, the whole point of the 8th that Obi started was because him and the lieutenant were present when an infernal went up, and the local branch that was dealing with it were more interested in scoring points of which was the more dangerous infernal. Can they go? Can they get them both? Which is worth more morale, as they were calling it. And they weren't really showing any respect to the deceased or their family or anything else. And
I mean,
and they buggered off and left the scene because the one that they were dealing with wasn't important to them. There was a better.
There was a more important target. To be completely fair to them, they're not entirely wrong.
Yeah, and morale is important because it can be a very demoralizing job.
Part of what they're doing is the reason that they've got the point system is to prioritize the ones that are actually bigger threats. One of the two infernals was roaming about doing shit. The other was simply staying inside.
Yeah, I think that the point that he was making though is that obviously they were already there on the scene.
Oh no, I'm not saying Obi was wrong. I'm just saying the other department wasn't completely wrong. They were just wrong.
Yeah, the other department wasn't wholly wrong. The Obi's complaint with that other department was that they were
really callous
and dismissive of the humanitarian aspect of what they were doing.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and again, I can understand that too because, like I said, it takes a toll, and dehumanizing the thing that has to be put down is a way to help deal with it.
Yep,
not a good way, but it's a way.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like they make there's a scene fairly early on where they say, look, end of the day, we are putting people down for the sake of their families, we refer to it as putting them to rest. Like the first job they show up to, Arthur has his sword out. Shinra's got one of the fire axes they think, and Obi just chastises them, says, "Put those away now."
Yeah.
You're in front of their family. You look like you're about to go in and hack up one of their relatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to say also is that one of the things I really thought was really neat was when Obi was talking about the whole religious aspect of it is it doesn't matter to him whether it's like whether he believes in this in soul or not is completely irrelevant as far as he's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
The reason Iris is there and the reason they offer the prayers is entirely for the families who are generally very religious.
Yes.
And this comes up when they're dealing with the Seventh and why Obi's very respectful of the Seventh's differences.
Yes.
Which I thought was actually really freaking cool. And also one of the eighth major points with the Seventh.
Yeah.
But at any rate, Iris, she doesn't do a lot, but she's still actually she still feels important.
Yes.
Because she's sort of
that's
the heart
the
and soul of the
important
team.
part,
She's part of the heart and soul of the team. Again, like everybody likes her. She's a confidant, someone you can talk to if you need to get something. You need to like get something off your chest. She does what a good priest does in theory.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and it's not like she's unimportant to this story. There's an entire arc revolving around her.
Oh yeah, totally.
But she doesn't get a lot of actual development.
No,
like,
that's one of the things that I agree.
She starts out the same and she ends the same.
She doesn't. Nothing really. We don't find out. We find out some about her in her past, and that's it.
Yeah, that's the thing. We find out a little bit about her, but it doesn't change who she is or what she is.
Yeah, and she's
Just
not a very proactive character. Well, that's not true.
Yeah,
she takes a very proactive action, which sparks a major incident.
Yeah,
and it's cool. I mean, what she was doing was cool. Honestly, like I respect what she was doing. But at any rate, they are eventually joined by 3 more people. Tamaki, Victor, and Vulcan. Tamaki is a member of the first due to the fallout from one particular incident that happens in the show. She's put on suspension and loaned out to the 8th.
Tamaki's your standard tsundere girl, right down to being like clearly intended to be the hottest character. She's got pigtails. She's fairly tsundere and at the same time kind of bubbly in a weird way.
She's a weird cross of a Genki girl and a tsundere.
Yes,
it's really weird.
And she's got really shit luck when it comes to, well, if there's anything that could be, if anything sexual could happen, it will happen with Maki.
Yeah, even if it couldn't, it does.
Which, to be fair, can be tiresome at times, and other times it's fucking hilarious.
When it's used, there are times it's done and it's really funny, and there are times when it's done and it's like, oh god, no, you don't do it during the dramatic sections. It kills all the pacing.
It kills the pacing in the dramatic sections, but holy shit, when they go start cooking and
yes, yeah.
She walks by and she's wearing nothing but an apron, and you hear from off screen, "How did that happen? You were in coveralls a second ago."
It's Maki who's shouting that too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the problem with Tamaki. I mean, look, she's there fan servicey anyway, because like she's the one. I'm not on the title card there, but like everyone else is all wrapped up and ready for, you know. She always has her greatcoat open and nothing underneath but a bra. You know, the pants that hang just a little bit too low. It's like, all right. Her fire ability manifests as cat ears and tails. She's the Nico, you know. All right, you're hitting all the fucking tropes. She's got a relatively cool skill set in that she can actually manipulate the tails and like grab people with fire tendrils.
It's actually
and-
she's honestly fairly cool. I wish she got to do more cool shit.
Yeah, she exactly maybe one. Oh no, she almost got one cool scene, and then it turned into Lucky Lecture, and it's like, okay.
Unlucky Lecture,
She,
Gav. Unlucky
yeah.
Lecture.
Well,
Just
She
reverse
also
it.
ends up hanging out a lot with Iris. Like,
Well, she
the
is a
two of them-
priest. She is also she's a sister in training.
Yeah.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they become fast friends.
Oh yeah, no, she, Maki, and Iris become very good friends.
Yeah.
She gets along with everybody except basically she gets along with everyone in the eighth. She makes she's very tsundere about Shinra,
Yes.
Yeah.
but it's very
he's
clear she actually does she respects and likes him. Because Shinra basically gets to be a big damn hero for her. Because that's what Shinra does. He's the big damn hero.
He's the big damn hero.
Which is what he wants. Which is awesome. I mean, he has a lot of big damn hero moments, and they're generally pretty cool. He's shit at naming them, but he has them.
I'm Mr. Kick You in the Ass Man. No, Shinra. No.
I'm gonna punch you in the face and make you stop being so deluded, man. How does that work?
It does! He literally knocks some sense into her.
It's true.
So yeah, that's the main. So Victor becomes the team's scientist, forensic scientist, because every department's supposed to have one. Victor is he is in many ways your classic mad scientist, but he's generally, while he's got some shady aspects to him, he's also generally helpful to our heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Victor doesn't show up to the last quarter in that capacity. He shows up in much earlier in another capacity.
Yeah. The impression I get is he's effectively part of a third side,
Yeah.
but while he is very much, the third, from the group the people he's working with are very much not fans of the fire brigades, the special fire brigades. They are also very not fond of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And there are reasons why you should not be fond of the fire brigades, let's be fair.
This is true.
So, I get it. And, it's very clear that the impression I get is that Victor is being very helpful to the 8th, not because they're the fire brigades, but because they're actually big damn heroes, and they're actually doing good shit. So he's like, yeah, fine, I'm more than happy to help them. Also, they're interesting. And they do weird shit, and that's cool.
My buddy Joker seems to have something decent things to say about them, despite the fact he's tried to kill them several times. So
Joker is, he's the wild card of the show.
Quite literally.
he comes when you first encounter Joker. Your first thought is he's going to be the main antagonist.
Nope.
But then he sort of disappears for a while. And he's lives up to his name. He shows up, throws a little chaos in the mix, causes some problems, and leaves, despite everyone's attempts to catch him. And yeah, I have no idea what his or Victor's
Actual endgame is.
endgame is, but they don't seem to be they don't seem to have a what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever their goal is, they're playing it very close to the vest, and it's clearly not in line with anyone else in the that we've seen so far.
Also, I want to give major shout outs to the dude's voice actor.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god, I love his delivery of his lines is just fucking creepy and brilliant.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. He looks like a One Piece villain, honestly. He's very much designed like that.
Yeah, he notably he's the guy who does Overhaul's voice in the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Also,
Also Kaiba, so,
Yeah, he's also Seto Kaiba. Yeah, he's
yeah. You know who plays him in English?
who Joker?
Yeah.
I was just
Krillin.
looking at that. Yeah, it's Sunny Straight. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Hmm.
Let's see if I can spot something that I've watched that he was in. I've watched. I don't remember that character by name, unfortunately.
Oh, back on.
But back
sorry.
on this, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, yeah.
So yeah, and Victor is there. Ends up being also joins late as the team engineer.
No, Vulcan.
Vulcan. Sorry, yeah, Vulcan. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Vulcan's kind of awesome.
Vulcan's great. Vulcan's a fucking mech boy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vulcan just will take a big pile of junk and make something out of it, and it's awesome. He also has no love for the Fire Force initially, because fuck those guys. Nor for largely because of their association with the corporation. I can't remember
The
what it's
Hajime company, yeah.
Hajime.
with the Hajime company, who has even bigger problems within the Fire Force.
Oh yeah.
He is eventually dragooned into the 8th through
Well, basically, they save his butt.
shit goes down.
Shit goes down. They save his butt. They basically say, "You can stay with us. We're not actually at." It's like, we'd love you if you join, but us protecting you, staying with us, not contingent on that. Like, we will help you and protect you because it's the right thing to do. But if you wanted
His
us,
house
we'd
does
love
get
to have
blown
you.
Yeah, and his house does get blown up.
Yeah. And then he talks to Obi, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm totally joining you guys." Because
Kind of how it works.
yeah, Obi. So yeah, that is the 8th. Now we're gonna start talking about stuff that gets into some more plot related stuff, and we don't want to spend too long doing this, but
Yeah.
Beware of spoilers.
Beware of spoilers from this point on, basically. So yeah, we have a few sort of fight infernal moments, and as they're fighting one particular infernal who is a former firefighter who is also a serial killer, who infernalizes during his sentencing. Our heroes, Shinra goes off to confront him and runs into the elements of the 5th Division, who are there because he's shown signs of actually being self-willed and knowing who he was. And
the fifth are one of the companies that report more directly to the Hajime company.
Yes.
Because they are heavily into the scientific research. So,
Yep.
Ooh, a really unusual infernal's shown up.
That's ours now.
But it's in our jurisdiction. And?
But it's ours now. Stop us if you could. Oh, you can't. Bye.
And we meet the leader of the 5th,
Princess Hibana.
Princess Hibana, who is who used to be at the same convent as Isis. Until things went really fucking wrong. Oh, lots of fire, lots and lots of fire.
Yeah.
Hibana is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic who is kind of oomphy powerful.
Yeah.
She primarily uses her tech. She basically can create little sort of sculptures out of flame that she usually turns into flowers and plants and such, sort of visually. But she can also basically, superheat the air around you, or dramatically reduce the oxygen in the area around you, and yeah.
Or cause instant heat stroke.
That's the main trick she
actually
does.
Heating up anything inside your around you, just your body temperature, just crank it up until you have heat stroke and fall over.
She's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
She is also, she's sort of the Ojo Hime archetype. She is very convinced of her superiority to everyone around her. And basically, she learned all the wrong lessons from the horrible incident at the convent, where all her friends, except for Isis, were basically burned to death.
Yeah, she went from being moderately devout to full-on maltheist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can totally see why she went the way she did.
Oh,
she
sure.
shouldn't have.
I mean, there's a whole scene where she's obviously it indicates her interest in science because she's Like again, she can create flowers out of fire.
Oh, she's a brilliant
And
scientist.
And she knows about dropping certain chemicals into the flames to turn the flames to change the colors of the petals. So she's got that interest there, and then everything goes up, and she turns to science, whereas Iris turns to soul.
But the thing is, it's not just that she turns to science; it's that she also simultaneously basically rejects humanity. Because the world sucks, and the only way you can get anywhere is by basically grinding everyone else beneath you.
Like I said, she goes full Malthus.
Yes,
disbelieve God, she hates him.
Yes.
And everything he believes in, and everything that is taught by him.
Yep.
Including things like compassion, humanity, all of that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, though it is also kind of clear, like, because ISIS so the 8th is planning on raiding them after they take the Infernal to get their scientific info, because that could be really useful and such. Because we got to get all the info together, and they're our first target, because they're near us, and their boss is kind of a dick. She's kind of a dick. She is awful. She is a terrible person to begin with. She mellows somewhat over the course of the show. Mostly because she is confronted with by two people who actually are genuinely good people who are trying to help her for no other reason than they want to help her.
Yeah.
And this is really challenging her worldview, because in her worldview nobody does that. And it is stupid anyways. And she is confronted by this by ISIS and Shinra. ISIS goes to talk to her. She basically starts berating her. The interesting thing is that as caustic and cruel as she is to ISIS, it's really clear she's trying not to actually hurt her. She's trying to wake her up to Hibana's worldview, because she's convinced that's the right worldview. She doesn't want to hurt ISIS. She wants to help her, weirdly, in a really dystopian, dark sort of way. So, not all her compassion is actually gone. She just thinks it is.
Well, she still cares about Iris.
Yes.
Like, they were droogs, and like, if she's going to give a shit about anyone, it's going to be Iris. It's just Iris has to wake the fuck up.
Right. And then Shinra shows up along with the rest of the 5th. And we
basically
get this bit
kick
where
down her door
the rest
to
of the 8th,
get
sorry.
Iris. Yeah.
I love the confrontation between the 8th and the 5th is great, because the 5th are all convinced, we're just going to totally curse off these losers in the 8th. Oh. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, so it turns out Princess Hibana's powerful. But because she sees herself above everyone else, and everyone else as in her own way, she refers to them as gravel underneath her feet. Like, literally, there's a scene where her minions or underlings form a human bridge for her to walk on.
Yep.
Let's just say their training regimen isn't high on her priorities.
No. It's not science, which is what she cares about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's got a bunch of very talented, powerful people under her. They're just not as well trained as the 8th. And she also wildly underestimates the 8th. Like, that's...
Oh, yes.
Her arrogance is her undoing in this, and Shinra is able to power through the heat stroke tricks and survive her fire petals, and punches her in the face, and basically, and then
declares, "I'm here to help you, stupid." And she's like, "But why?"
Because it's the right goddamn thing to do.
But
I'm a goddamn hero. This world, because this world doesn't have heroes, it means it needs them more. And she's like, okay. Also, he's cute. God damn it, no.
Yeah, she develops a not well concealed crush on him.
Yeah. Which, it's very clear, she doesn't really want to have a crush on anybody, but she comes to really like and respect Shinra in addition to having a crush on him.
Yeah.
It's like,
the only people that she refers to as non-gravel is like people of her rank, i.e. other captains, and Shinra.
Yeah.
And Iris.
And Iris.
And Iris, yeah. It's like, as much as she insults Obi, it's really clear she actually respects him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also very clear that she is not. She is also a little bit intimidated by Hinawa.
Because everyone is.
And I don't think she never actually. She doesn't.
Lieutenant. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. She doesn't actually have much to say to Maki, but I get the impression it's one of those. Yeah, Maki's there. She's not actually Gravel because no one in the 8th is technical. The impression I get is that she doesn't really consider the 8th Gravel anymore. They kicked her people's asses. They have demonstrated they are better than Gravel. They're beneath her, of course.
Yeah. Well, the others don't really show up on her radar.
Right.
Like, Obi's there because he's in charge of the 8th, and the 8th beat her. Shinra's there because Shinra's kicked her ass and is kind of cute, and God damn it, stop it.
But it's also like, he is actually her sort of her beacon to show her, like, right, I should actually stop being a terrible person. Right.
And Iris is there because Iris is a cinema role, and everyone loves Iris.
Yes.
There's a great scene later on where they're having like a conference, and the first has sent one of their lieutenants as a standing because the captain couldn't make it, and they're all sat around, and Hibana's sat on they're all sat on couches, and Hibana's sat on the back of the couch, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He says, "I refuse to be sat on the same level as some first Gravel." I was like, "All right, well, what do you want me to do? Sit on the floor?" Yes. Are you serious? Next scene, he's sat on the floor. She's still sat on the back of the chair.
He's like, I was joking. How did this happen? He's a great character too, though. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, and so basically they come with a rationale for it was a training exercise so that nobody gets in trouble with the actual higher ups. They have a barbecue and such.
Even to throw a barbecue and a party afterwards. It's like, this is just the resolution of the training exercise, in which we kicked everyone's ass.
Yeah, like all the 5th are like, wait, this is cool. They're not actually pissed with it. What the hell? Okay. Well, they actually seem like decent people. Okay. Yeah. Well, except for that one rookie dude who's a bit of an asshole, the bubblegum.
Yeah. He's a prick. Nobody likes him.
No. Yeah. God, he has such a massive crush on Hibana, and is so completely flummoxed by the fact that Hibana has decided that she likes Shinra. It's great.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, no, now I'm obviously Shinra's rival. Shinra has no rivals other than Arthur. Sorry, you lose. But the scene afterwards where Hibana basically, gives Obi their information and explains why she's doing it is great.
Mm-hmm.
Because she basically is explaining, like her what her worldview kind of had become, and basically how Shinra and Iris basically pointed out to her that she's kind of full of shit and should probably fix that.
Well, that's it. That one scene humanizes her.
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
This is how really well written this show is. It's like she is an absolute monster. Like, it's like, oh, you piece of shit. You're treating everyone around you like shit. She's the worst. She's literally the worst. And then in one scene, well, the fight scene, and then that one scene with Obi, she's part of the gang.
Well, the big thing is, we find out why she is the way she is. We have the explanation. It's not an excuse,
exactly,
it's an explanation. And
yes.
then she's forced into a position where she has to confront the fact that she is the worst and realizes she doesn't want to be the worst.
Yeah, and she tries to correct it.
Yes. Now, she's still monumentally arrogant and talks down to people because it's funny. It's now played for laughs, and that really it's really it is done well because the author does a good job with writing it that way. As a general thumb, like a lot of the characters who start out as sort of seeming like kind of antagonisty and then make the shift, they do it well.
Yes. They do that a few times. Yeah.
They next up is the first. They send Shinra and Arthur over to do the cross exchange thing I mentioned earlier. Also, it turns out there are a bunch of people. There have been a lot of people becoming Infernals, and it seems like they're being created. This is due to the 5th has research that seems like there are people who are becoming Infernals, and it's not like it's not just spontaneous. It seems like they're being created.
It's some sort of artificial invocation.
Right. So, and a lot of it's been happening in the first territory. So they go investigate over at the first. This is where we really get to know the leader of the first. We've met a couple of times, Captain Burns.
What a name.
Such a good name.
What a name for a firefighter.
It's a shame his first name isn't Seymour.
I don't know. I think Lester would have been better, just so it could be less Burns.
But yeah, Captain Burns is this fucking, like, a mountain of a man in a way that Obi isn't.
Yeah.
He's just like as wide as he is tall.
He's a giant. He's huge.
He really is.
He wears an eye patch. It turns out that we find out later that his eye's been burnt out for. Okay. Whoops.
It's like if Whitebeard was drawn by somebody who isn't a maniac.
It wasn't drawn by Oda.
Yeah.
Mind you, I love Whitebeard, but yeah. But yeah. So we follow the investigations there. There's a bit of a sparring session with members of the with the leaders, some of the officers of the first. Arthur and Shinra get to spar against Burns, which is to Tamaki's consternation. She's never gotten as far as Burns. It does not go well for Arthur and Shinra.
Yeah.
Although Burns is like, okay, you guys, yeah, not bad. I mean,
yeah, for where you are now, you have potential.
You have some potential. Well done. But we didn't even make you move. Yeah, and nobody does. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. We also find out later that there's a big conference of all the captains, and we find out later that Burns is not referred to as the most powerful captain of them. That's the seventh leader, Benamaru. And it's debatable there, but I understand why.
So during this whole stuff, during all of this at the first, there's they're investigating things, something like they called out an infernal thing, and Shinra witnesses an artificial creation involving a test tube and a bug being placed against someone's back. But it doesn't catch who did it, except they were wearing the robes that the higher ups in the first wear. So
one of the lieutenants. It was the outfit of one of the lieutenants. Yeah.
Yeah. And he finds two of the lieutenants there. He's like, okay, which one is it? I'm going to guess it's the guy with the giant tuba, because never trust a guy with a tuba.
Also, the other dude seems like a really nice guy, and the dude with the tuba has been kind of a dick.
Yeah.
We should investigate both, but we'll start with the guy who's a dick to us.
The thing is, he wasn't a dick. He was just has this weird way of talking that sounds really combative, and it's just like, is he insulting me? No, he was just saying an obvious thing. Like, it sounded insulting.
But he seemed like the one they wanted to investigate first. They weren't sure.
Yeah.
Well, the other guy seemed really nice, so that's,
He's just a nice guy. Why would we investigate him first? We'll take the guy with the tuba. Never trust a motherfucker with a tuba.
That's not what they say, but okay. That's just Eric being extemporaneous. Just to be clear. It's still funny, though, dude. Well done. So, yeah, they investigate... God, what's his name? Hang on. Karim's room.
Mm.
Yeah, Karim. Flam Karim.
Yeah.
God.
He's second gen. His ability to control fire flames and convert heat energy into sound energy via his tuba, which he can then convert into ice.
Yes.
They get a little bit creative with the powers at various points. Like, apparently he can, like, the sound like pulls all the heat away from the area so it can freeze things. Like, all right.
At any rate,
thermodynamics.
In theory, yes. But yeah, Karim actually discovers him investigating. He's like, so you guys are investigating into the whole infernalization thing. Cool, so am I. And since you're investigating me, that means you saw me and my buddy, whom... That means you guys were actually chasing down someone who actually infernalized somebody. Oh no. Yeah, that confirms that my buddy is actually the bad guy. Fuck. I'm not happy. My friend is evil.
Yeah.
He's also the guy that the Lieutenant Tamaki basically is like absolutely like adores because he's been so good to her. Let's see if I can find his name.
Yeah, I can't find his name.
Ritsu. No, is it Ritsu? No, it's not Ritsu.
No, I think it is. Rekka.
Rekka. Yeah, Rekka. Yeah, Rekka he's a really nice. He's comes across as this really nice, helpful dude, and oh boy. Yeah, this is where we find out about the Doomsday Cult, and yeah, the followers of the Evangelist.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not they're bad. They're real bad. But we get a kick-ass fight scene between Rekka and Shinra.
Yeah, it turns out Rekka's abilities is basically the opposite of Shinra. He's all fists.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Rekka has got Tamaki running around, like gathering up kids, because he's going to take care of them, and she's like, okay, yeah, we can give them a lesson, that'll be great, and then we'll deliver them back to their kids. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Sure. That's not what happens.
No.
He starts internalizing the kids.
Basically, gathering together people he's gathering people together so he can use the bugs, little insects, which turn out are what are used to artificially infernalize somebody. He's doing it because they're trying to find people who are compatible with the fire, basically. Because they need more pyrokineticists for their army to basically bring about the end of the world.
Yep. So Tamaki responds to this about as well as can be expected.
Like when she finds out, especially that he's doing it to kids, she's like, no.
Why?
Yeah.
And he promptly kicks the poor girl's asshole up and down the street.
Yeah, because he was planning on framing her because, she basically said that she would do anything for him. So, hey, great, I can frame you for this then. That's not what I meant. No.
Ungood.
And he's expressing this as if he's actually like so happy, and all through this he is cheerful and happy and is genuinely enthusiastic and like acting like he's what he's doing is a favor to her because she's helping her be a part of the evangelist plan. He is horrifying.
And just a little bonkers.
Yeah. And Shinra comes in to save the day. Crashing through the motherfucking roof like a goddamn superhero. And then looks like a demon.
Shinra knows how to make a fucking entrance.
He does.
I mean, by this point, he's
superhero. He's backlit with his feet flames former and big bat wings with a big shark tooth grin on his face. He's purposely presented as an avenging demon descending to rain hell upon
the wicked. Yes.
Yes. And he proceeds to kick this dude's ass all up and down the street.
I mean,
well, not really. He kind of.
It turns out Rekka is more of a determinator than he is, and that's kind of saying something.
Yeah. The end
Yikes.
result is what's his face? Tuba guy has to intervene.
Yep. Well, basically, Rekka's at the point where he can't beat him, but he's willing to overload his pyrokinesis and basically self-combust and blow everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than be captured and to basically rather than be captured and also to basically stop Shinra and such.
It's one thing they establish at that point. It's like not a hard fast rule like, oh, pyrokinetics will explode if they use it. No, but it's like any other bodily function. If you overuse it, you're generating fire. You need oxygen for fire. Therefore, your body's going to get it from somewhere. And they establish at this point where Shinra, for example, can be worn out if he uses his fire too much, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And Rekka just shows this other side of it. It's like, yeah, if I supercharge myself, I'm just going to nuke everything. All right.
Yeah. Fortunately, Karam shows up and freezes him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Rekka, you know how my power works. The hotter you get, the colder things get for you. You're gonna freeze. Just turns into a fucking ice cube.
Just give up, Rekka. Rekka, give up. Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't want to freeze you solid. Oh. You're making me freeze you solid. I've frozen you solid.
He's not dead. We'll bring him back to base and interrogate him.
At which point he's killed by the Evangelist forces.
Yeah. Cut to the heart. By a fire spear.
Yep. So yeah, that leads to the conference between that leads to the conference where we meet all the other captains, including Benimaru, the most powerful of the captains. Which, after seeing Burns, you're like, wait, what? but what? And we find out why. So yeah, they go to investigate in the 7th territory, though they're not there so much as investigating the 7th. They're sort of investigating things in the 7th territory. So they're trying to be more friendly about this.
Yeah, mostly because the 7th aren't really the kind of guys to do anything underhanded.
Well, it's also the fact that the 7th really are only technically part of everything.
Mm.
Basically, the 7th are proto-nationalists, is sort of the way they put it. They basically embrace and retain the traditions of Japan, as opposed to the new Tokyo Empire. They don't worship Soul in their territory. They follow Shinto traditions, and it's very much sort of traditional Japanese area.
Mm.
Yeah,
and they do not trust outsiders. I mean, if you're showing up to visit and shop, fine, we guess. But like, why would you do that? We don't have anything you Imperial types want. You're just here to gawk at the primitives. Whatever will take your money, I guess. But yeah, so
and we'll upcharge the fuck out of you for the privilege.
Oh god, yeah, almost certainly. But yeah, Benimaru is sort of walking around town. Everybody seems coming up to him and like being all like thankful and like praising him and such. And Benimaru's like, God, leave me alone. Look, old lady, I don't like those sweets. They're too sweet for my personal taste. Oh, yeah, fine, I'll take them. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, old man. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Have a good day. Yeah. Oh, God, why is everybody talking to me? Why won't they just let me be? I don't want to be in charge of shit. I'm not good at that. I'm good at fighting, and that's it.
And this is where more shenanigans from the evangelist happen.
But yeah, so the 8th shows up, basically asks for permission to investigate. Benimaru's like, ugh. But then someone infernalizes, and Benimaru goes off to deal with it. And we see why Benimaru is badass. Because he is both a 2nd and a 3rd generation pyrokinetic.
Mm.
He has the ability to manipulate flames of a 2nd gen and the ability to create flames of a 3rd. He's got probably the most broadly wide spectrum combination of abilities of any pyrokinetic.
He is also a joy to watch fight.
Holy
Holy
my
shit.
god. Also, he is a badass martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
He is just a lot of fun to watch him go to work.
Yeah. And he blows up part of the time taking out the Infernal. And everyone's like cheering him on, and like the 8th are like, the fuck, they're blowing it up. Well, he's blowing up the town. Well, yeah, we can rebuild this stuff pretty quickly, and if we're gonna go down and we're gonna be inhuman for infernalizing, we want it to be at Benny's hand. Because we trust and respect him, and he's part of our community and such. And he understands our ways.
Mm.
And Obi's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. Cool.
Yeah, I grok that.
I like to think a bit of it as well is that, like, the guy who infernalized, like, Benny literally destroys his house, like,
Yep.
and a few houses around it. But it's like a case of, okay, not only did he put him to rest, he's destroyed his house. No one's going to be living in his house anymore. They're going to build a new one, somebody else. It's that finality of like, he's gone, all his stuff's gone. We're starting again.
There's an element of that to it too, yeah. But it's also, it's someone from their community dealing with it is the thing. Is no small part of it.
Someone from their community. There's also like an element of ritual in the destruction.
Yep.
It's very much a part of the ritual of how you put down an infernal. Like, they never come out and say it, but it's very much a sense of cleansing the area that's been tainted by the infernal's presence.
Yep.
Like, level everything and rebuild. It's very much the attitude. They never come out and say it, but it's pretty clearly what they're.
But yeah, it's very much ritualized, and it's very different than the way the Empire does it. The Church of Soul, and I love the fact that the Eighth are all like, yeah, we get that, okay. Like Iris is like, yeah, they don't even bring Iris.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, we should probably not bring Iris, and Iris is apparently cool with it. But she's like, yeah, this is they don't do things the way we do it, and that's fine. But what helps win the Seventh over is that the Eighth immediately goes, okay, how can we help rebuild? Yeah, we understand you didn't want us involved in the cleansing. That's fine, and we understand and respect that. But can we help you rebuild? Like, we've got people who will be very good at that. Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, Shinra basically picks up and starts flying lumber up to people up high. Maki just starts lifting very heavy things and carrying them around. To everybody's, okay.
The next thing that happens with the Seventh is the Evangelist's boys show up and start shit. This is where we encounter one of their major guys who's not a direct combatant. But I started calling him the Meat Smith, because what he does is he heats up people's flesh and dilates the capillaries and relaxes their muscles until they come off, and then reattaches them, and bang! Now we have someone with an entirely different face. Go forth and sow discord. And this is largely what they do. They make a bunch of doubles and have them go out and just cause trouble. And this is all leading up to causing enough issues that they can start infernalizing people in the Seventh's area pretty much willy-nilly and seeing what happens with the intention of finding someone who's compatible with the flames or possibly a demon, which is what they refer to as one of the infernals that develops horns.
Yep.
Either one is fine.
Yep. So,
but because the Eighth is there, they immediately twig on what's going on, and big fight happens.
The big first thing is that they impersonate Obi and the Lieutenant and Hinawa.
Yes.
And talk about how they've shown up to cause the Infernals in front of Benny. And Benimaru's like, whoa, fuck you guys. And basically starts taking it out on the Eighth. And the Eighth are all like, what the fuck? We're not, no, he's not listening.
You know, the best thing about that scene is that because Benny has all those abilities, like he can manipulate fire, he can do this and that, generate his own fire. Like every one of the Eighth that he's fighting, like the entire Eighth are against him, and they're all getting schooled because he can negate their powers, he can turn off their abilities, he can redirect their flames, and they're really struggling and getting absolutely battered until Obi shows up. And I love this way they show it, where Obi just shows up in full firefighting gear versus Benimaru, completely unpowered, and goes toe to toe with him for a good chunk of it. Because they're always very careful to make sure that Obi is, again, they make it very clear that powers are cool, but they're not the be all and end all of it.
Yeah.
And a good firefighter with the right equipment, which again leads to like Vulcan later on, who becomes, it adds to his value as well as the reason they need him, and all that gear they've got, and yeah, I actually really love that it was Obi that actually could stand up to him. Because it's captain to captain, but also because it's like this most powerful pyrokinetic versus a complete unpowered person.
Yeah.
The thing is that Obi doesn't win.
No.
But
he's not trying to win.
no, he's buying time and trying to get through to Benimaru. Like, dude. But like Benimaru's just like, what? Like, holy crap! This like, okay, this dude is real for real. Okay.
Again, it's that whole level of respect. It's another reason why the seventh, and respects the eighth so much.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and the big thing is that it's very clear that the reason one of the reasons that like the impression you get is that Obi can handle most pyrokinetics if they're not also badass martial artists.
Yeah.
That's sort of the problem he has against Benimaru is like, Benimaru has other tricks too. It's not just that he's powerful pyrokinetic. Oh dear. So yeah. But yeah, things are resolved. Hooray! Yeah, but
there's this whole theme. Sorry, I didn't mean to go.
Go ahead.
There is a theme going through this where, like, a lot of the pyrokinetics, like, again, this often gets leveled at Obi. Like, you're not a pyrokinetic. You don't have the fear of the flames, of them overtaking you and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, I'm human. I can't control flames. Of course, I fear flames. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop. He has this habit of just like charging through everything. Yep. He's getting burned while he's doing it, but it's visor down. Fuck it.
Yep.
I love Obi.
Oh, he's great.
Obi's great.
We all adore Obi. I think we all adore the eighth as a whole. They're great.
Yeah, the eighth. The eighth is great.
Yeah. So yeah, we also at one point during this find out that Shinra's brother is alive and is the leader of the armed forces of the Evangelist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kidnapped by the Evangelist people and
the Knights of the Ashen Flame.
Yep.
Because they need to have that sort of wacky pseudo medieval name to their things because they dress like fucking Templars.
Yeah.
So yeah. They basically end up making friends with the seventh. Benimaru and Obi become buddies.
Yeah.
Do you drink sake? Of course I do. Sweet. We should go drinking together. Okay, cool.
Around the time we get like Lictor.
Yeah, Victor joins up about this point.
Yep.
He's basically assigned to them, and Obi's not ecstatic about this because he wanted to get a forensic scientist. He could actually like
trust. Yeah,
that's Obi's big thing. He, like you say, people join the eighth because he's, picked them himself.
Yep. Because he needs to be sure he can trust them, and he's like, I
don't know this guy,
but I don't have a choice either. Fuck. All right, we'll work with him. Someone later on asks you, do you trust this Victor guy? He says, he's been very helpful, and, he's done a great job.
Yeah.
Obi didn't actually answer that question, did he?
No.
Yeah. Huh. Obi doesn't usually do that. That's why I noticed it. I'm like, huh.
Like, Shinra came to the 8th, right at the beginning, Shinra came to the 8th with this huge reputation. He was literally known in the academy as the Devil. Because of his feet, being hot and leaving scorch marks, his power is referred to as the Devil's footprints. Like, he's known. Obi meets him first time, yep, I like this kid, I'll trust him.
Yeah. Obi's got a good sense for people who are trustworthy.
Yeah, Victor signs on. He's like, well, he's not done anything so far.
Aha. But yeah,
this is where they decide to recruit an engineer. They're like, Obi's like, there's this guy. I think he's a.
Well, yeah, Victor mentions they don't have an engineer, and maybe I can find you one. Obi's like, actually, I've got a guy in mind, and Victor's like, who? This guy Vulcan. Wait, you serious? He hates the Fire Force.
Even Hibana's like, wait, you're gonna try and get him?
Yeah, I love it. Hibana's like, pfft.
Good luck.
Hibana's like, I've tried to recruit him 8 times. I mean, yeah, the guy's a genius, but.
And to be fair, there is no way Vulcan was going to work for Hibana.
No.
No way in all the 9 hells.
There's no way he'd do it now, and she's become a better person.
Yeah.
The whole thing about it, as it turns out with Vulcan, is that his granddad.
His granddad's the one who invented the Amaterasu reactor.
Yeah, and was part of the Hinawa company. No, Hajime. What's it called? Hajime company. And left them under unfavorable terms. And basically that has kind of bled into the Fire Force, because obviously Hajime supply the Fire Force, therefore the Fire Force are under Hajime's control, therefore fuck those guys.
Yep. Also, the leader of the third, Dr. Giovanni, who used to be an apprentice, Vulcan's dad's apprentice, and left to join Hajime, keeps trying to recruit Vulcan and is an asshole. So not helping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Vulcan himself, other than the connection with Dr. Giovanni, Vulcan himself doesn't really have any ill feelings towards anyone in particular in the Fire Force, apart from Giovanni. Other than his granddad told him, he'd spin in his grave if he ever went anywhere near the Fire Force.
Yep. And so he's built a little sort of found family with this kid he adopted, and this girl he helped that, who was basically this homeless girl who he basically gave a place to stay to.
Yeah, and it turns out the third are complete and utter asshats, and have done that because they keep trying to recruit him, and because he keeps saying no, they've done their best to basically cut him out of.
They've cut off his supply of tech stuff, so it's harder for him to build.
Yeah, no one will sell him parts. No one will deal with him. He lives out of a junkyard. He has to have people go out and do shopping for get bits for him.
None of this matters because he's a mech boy and can make anything work with given enough hammers.
Yes.
So basically, Obi sends Shinra, Iris, and Arthur to go recruit him. Go talk to him, see if he's somebody that we actually can work with, and ask him to join us.
I like the logic of it. Apparently, Obi's reasoning for this is that he wants him to make sure that he understands that the Eighth aren't part of the regular. They're not the Fire Force as he knows it.
Right.
So he sends those three.
Yeah.
But let's be fair, if Obi had gone himself and had a chat with this kid,
well, he probably wouldn't have signed.
He wouldn't have let him in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
But he sends basically the three most charismatic people at his disposal. One is has a reputation as the devil. The other is an idiot, and the third one's a human cinnamon roll. So,
I mean, to be fair, he's literally fighting fire with fire, so to speak. It's like, oh, Vulcan's a really stubborn individual, is he? Okay, I'll send Shinra.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Shinra is entirely willing to, when he basically hears Vulcan's explanation, he's like, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, we're not going to pressure you. We're here to ask, not pressure you, because fuck that. Also, it sounds like Giovanni's doing that, and that sucks. I'm sorry. Then Giovanni shows up and starts pressuring them, and, he gets to actually hear Giovanni make his pitch, and Shinra's like, God, what an asshole! Shinra goes off to call back to HQ or something like that. I forget exactly why. Oh no, right, I remember why. Because his legs start twinging the way they did when he senses some sort of murderous intent, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's got his special powers are developing a bit more. And he goes off to investigate and finds Giovanni basically planning to, to get the thing he actually wants from Vulcan and murder him, basically. And, and also members of the Evangelists people there. And he's realized, oh, fuck, Vulcan's with the Evangelists. Well, that sucks.
Not Vulcan. Giovanni.
Giovanni.
Yes.
Giovanni, not Vulcan, my bad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Giovanni's with the Infernal, not the Infernalist. Well, yes, but, with the Evangelist. That's bad. And Giovanni's like, "Oh, you're the kid with the Adola burst. Great, we can." Yeah, we find out that Shinra's form of pyrokinesis is special and it's called an Adola burst. It's a super special thing that's very rare.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is all explained a little bit later on, but essentially, it's the Adola burst is kind of like. I mean, they don't say it, but they kind of infer it's like the Big Bang. Basically, it's the fire. The fire of creation. It's not just creating fire; it's possibly supernatural. I mean, creating fire is supernatural.
It enables you to manipulate other abilities also to some degree.
Yeah. And it's inferred that it's actually connected to literally the fires of hell. So has otherworldly connections, not just supernatural, but actually otherworldly.
Yeah.
And which is why Shinra's reacts in a way that allows him to connect with other with other people's emotions and like Peter said there, murderous intent and that kind of stuff. Connect to other people with Adola bursts, which we learn a little bit later on. And supposedly it's also the same type of flame, which, if you think about it, insinuates something. But it's the same type of flame that ignited Amaterasu.
Yeah, there are implications there. Yeah, there are definitely implications.
I mean, this is certainly what the evangelist believes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So at any rate,
the evangelists do exposit at this point that the Adola burst is, like I said, the flame of creation, the flame that will cleanse the earth. Is the way that they're saying it at this point.
But yeah, at any rate, Shinra gets his ass kicked by by Giovanni. Because Giovanni's a cyborg and has a lot of really nasty tricks.
He is Inspector Gadget.
Meanwhile,
I'm pretty sure Giovanni is not actually human underneath his underneath all that Plague Doctor stuff.
I have no idea.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure he's pyrokinetic.
They mentioned that he's controlling the thrusters on his cyber hand because he uses it like a grappling hook through use of pyrokinesis.
I think he's second gen. But the important bit is that I think he was human at one point because he was Vulcan's dad's apprentice.
Yeah. No. What I mean that is like he hasn't bothered with maintaining normal human anatomy underneath that Plague Doctor outfit he wears.
It's possible. We see some of his human form underneath it at one point, but it's also got all sorts of like spider limbs.
It's also got like extra arms and like
it's weird.
Yeah,
at any rate,
we don't know if he's gone full on Metcalf or is just wearing an exo frame.
We're not sure if he's a tech priest or not.
Yeah. But long story short, some members of the Knights of Sacred Flame, I forgot what the name of the group is. Knights of the Ashen Flame show up. The dude who can create the giant fiery mace and Mirage, and Arthur has to go out and confront them. But Arthur doesn't have Excalibur with him, so and he explains this, and he can't create the flames without that. He can't really do much with it unless he's feeling particularly knightly. And Vulcan's like, knightly, huh? All right, I can work with that. And he cobbles together a hilt for his sword and a mighty steed.
Should be noted that Vulcan thinks animals are awesome and wants to find a way to bring them back because a lot of them have gone extinct with the Great Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So what he does is he gives Arthur, for his mighty steed, a codpiece. That is a donkey head.
And Arthur goes out to confront them and is more powerful than ever because he's got his mighty steed and Excalibur.
And a tarp for a cape.
Yeah. And he's kicking their asses pretty thoroughly until the Mirage guy shows him a direct version of himself, the exact what he looks like. At which point his self-confidence crashes and he gets his ass kicked. As an aside, Arthur is Don Quixote.
Yes, it's amazing.
He is defeated by the Mirror Knight. Oh my god, that was so good!
Yes, it was. It was great. As soon as you said that, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing.
It's so
Maybe
good!
Like even more, honestly.
What?
Like...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I went from liking Arthur to absolutely fucking adoring him. in that moment, right? Realize he is actually, it's Don Quixote. It's like, oh my god, he is. It's so good. Except not played quite as tragically. Down to the donkey head. It's
Yeah.
his mount is a
great.
donkey.
It's fucking great.
Oh. So, anyways, yeah. Hibana shows up because she planted a bug on somebody. Iris, yeah, that's right.
Iris, yeah.
But she's keeping track of Iris because Iris is
Iris is her friend, and she watches out for her friends. And Iris doesn't have super mega powers, so someone has to.
Mm-hmm. And she heard shit going on, so she showed up, and it's like, oh, and Shinra's here, all tied up. I could just take him back with me to the 5th. Fine, I'll let him go. I'm gonna go save Iris and everybody else. I should have just taken him with me. It's like, I had him right there. Oh. I don't think he got what I was talking about when he said that, did he? Oh, well. So, yeah. She's not particularly interested in saving anybody else. Like, he's going to have to save Iris, so she's not, like, upset. But, like, Arthur and Vulcan, eh. But yeah, it's a great bit where Shinra goes zooming by, zooming up to Arthur, and Arthur is still sort of fighting, and like the bad guys have been commenting that like now Giovanni's gone inside, now they're keeping Arthur out, and Shinra just like, okay, I'm gonna go in and help them, and you those guys in here, and Arthur's like, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he goes zooming, and Arthur goes, see, you didn't keep him out, and they're like, we hate you. So yeah, Shinra does much better against Giovanni the second time. Unfortunately, we find out that Lisa, the girl that Arthur helped out, unfortunately was actually a spy for the Evangelist, because they're trying to get the key to Amaterasu, which apparently,
is a thing that we will not be resolved at all in this season.
It looks like a thumb drive. That's all we know. But he gets it. But, yeah, her flames, Lisa's flames are apparently slightly magnetic and can basically track people's natural magnetic fields.
And are not at all giant tentacles.
No, they are.
Get
She points
that
that
out
out.
of your head.
She points that out later. So Vulcan tells Iris to basically, Iris had been just pushing a lot of buttons that were labeled "Don't push," and Vulcan basically tells her, "Start pushing the buttons." So she does and starts dropping all these little weird machines out of everywhere. And there are a bunch of machines all over the place now, which all have their own magnetic fields. So Iris is like, oh, fuck. My powers not work so good now. Which leaves Shinra free to, having fought Giovanni once, is much less put off his guard by Giovanni's bullshit. Unfortunately, Shinra's brother shows up at this point.
And everything goes to hell.
And it looks like our heroes are going to get their asses kicked when Joker shows up. And Victor. Victor shows up and basically with a truck.
Victor shows up and scoops them up in a pickup truck, and they're driving away, and Shinra's little brother is chasing after them. And then Joker shows up, and no one questions this because I'm pretty sure the only one that notices is Lichter. I was like, "Yep, thanks, buddy. We're just not gonna mention that at all."
But yeah, Sho basically is early on completely schools everybody because he can stop time
with fire.
Yeah,
he basically he taps into the thermal expansion of the universe and can control it.
Yeah.
So, which is all kinds of bad news for everybody.
He basically freezes entropy.
Yeah. Well, literally he freezes everything. He ceases the thermal expansion and the vibration in molecules, so everything stops.
And he starts freezing himself slowly. He can't maintain it indefinitely.
Yeah.
So when he turns it off, this huge cloud of steam comes off of him. It's actually really cool.
Yes.
So he starts doing this, and Joker can keep up with him, which confuses the hell out of Sho.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have an adult burst. Why can you do this? Wouldn't you like to know, kid?
I'm gonna say this is a very good question. We are not given an answer.
No.
Up to this point, we've seen Joker fight a couple times, mostly just by fucking with Shinra.
We see him fighting with Shinra, and he's clearly not trying.
Yeah.
Shinra
And his powers seem to revolve around controlling smoke and causing minor explosions. Or major explosions when he gets bored.
But yeah, he's real fast. And he can just Batman disappears. You stop looking at him, you look back, he's gone.
Yeah.
There's a cloud of smoke that usually says bye. Because Joker's awesome. They use him exactly the right amount.
Yes.
It's like, I have questions that if they don't answer them, I will be very angry. But for now, I'm okay with it.
I have a theory, but I'm not going to speak it because it's kind of bullshit. But
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Joker's a weird character, and I am actually looking forward. I do hope that he just get more explanation at the very least.
Yep. So yeah. We fast forward to they basically going to go. They're going to go after. They figured out where the Evangelist people are hiding out in the old subway tunnels,
which they're referred to as the Nether,
which are apparently verboten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where a whole bunch. They get separated. A whole bunch of fights happen. Everybody gets their chance to shine, and it's fucking awesome.
The Nether. They refer to the old subway tunnels and underground in general as the Nether, and it has a very there's a supernatural quality in the way everyone refers to it.
Yeah,
there's nothing actually supernatural down there, but there's a lot of religiosity to it.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, they're a sun cult. Obviously,
right.
You're going somewhere where the sun can't reach. Therefore, it's unholy.
Which is the thing. I'm sitting there. Why are they so afraid of the underground? Oh, it's a sun cult, and then you immediately go, "Oh, it's a sun cult. Of course, they're afraid to go underground." It's like we had this.
So we get the big confrontation with Shinra and Sho, where Shinra starts basically figuring shit out, and he basically fully unlocks his Adola Burst ability, which, he can't stop time so much as move faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, which causes its own problems. Here's the thing: he does in the presence of Sho because he's got a connection to Sho because they're brothers. He has this. Well, Sho might not feel it. Shinra absolutely feels a very deep connection to his brother and a desire to be close to him and to help him out.
Well, the thing they explain is that Sho's only so powerful because he has a direct connection to this evangelist.
Which is what I was getting to, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Because Sho has this connection to the evangelist, which may or may not be a supernatural entity. We're not certain. Personally, I'm convinced it's Lucifer. But but because Sho has this deep connection with the evangelist, this is what allows him to go use his powers to such an extent. And Shinra's tapping into that power from the evangelist through his connection to Sho, which is why they're able to fight on the same level.
Yeah, he gets on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he gets on the Wi-Fi.
And he still can't quite beat Sho, but he gets through to him.
Yeah,
because you can share emotions and memories through the link. And he starts feeding Sho his memories of Sho, because Sho has no memories of him. And so Shinra's like, okay, well, then I'll give you my memories. And Sho's like, the fuck? I don't know you, my brother. Oh, that's her mom. And and you went through all this. Oh,
God damn it! You're not the evangelist. Shut up.
But no, he eventually realizes, holy fuck, like, he really is my brother.
Yeah,
and he really does care about me. And like, you really get the impression that Sho's sort of realizing, does the evangelist actually care about me, or does the evangelist, just want to use me? Huh. That's something to think about. And Shinra wants to, like, help me, because, okay. At which point the other Adola Burst, the other right hand of the Evangelist shows up, who also has Adola Burst powers, shows up and is like, yeah, nope, okay. Oh, look, Show, you've accidentally stabbed your brother through the chest with your sword. What? No,
Oops.
no, you're not going after my brother. No. Because she's going after Shinra, and Sho just basically teleports in front of her. He's like, nope. And she's like, okay, fine. I'll use my power to basically knock you out. Okay. Go wander back to the Evangelist. I'm going to go deal with your brother. And, look, his friends have shown up. God damn it. Right, well, I'll do my whole electricity zap the brain of this guy over here. Why is my electricity not working to do with the fire sword?
Goddamn plasma.
And it turns out it's because the sword's plasma and fucks with the electrical fields.
Yeah, so
Which
this
it
is
actually
Hao Mei,
would.
her name. Yeah, this is Hao Mei, basically. Her power is, and I've been reading up to actually look into this. Her actual power is it's using electricity to she can shut out the brain, and she has like puppetry control over infernals through
Yep.
it. And yeah, so we see like instances where she zaps people. She gets Shinra, I think.
Oh, she does.
And knocks him out and just basically turns his brain off. You know,
Because Shinra starts getting up because Shinra's a goddamn. Shinra's too stubborn for his own good.
Yeah, and like he says, Arthur shows up and she zaps him and he doesn't respond. And for that briefest moment of a second, all three of us were like, "Wait, is he too stupid to be?" and then it's like, she's, "Oh shit, plasma. That's gonna fucking." Oh, okay.
And Arthur to Arthur's credit, he picks up on this because she goes into some of the other members, and he immediately leaps in the way to block it with his sword.
Yes,
Yep.
but it is beautiful, just the right amount of time.
Oh, they give you exactly enough time to think that. Yes, absolutely. This is when Semagora, the Laughing God, shows up.
Which one?
At any
Hao Mei
rate,
and Joker could both be there.
so basically, the Evangelist folks start setting up earthquakes down there, so everybody bugs out.
Yeah.
Shinra's taken to the hospital because he's dying. You know, sword shoved through chest. Fortunately, there's the leader, the head of one of the departments is also a doctor, and her ability is able to manifest a fire snake that helps her do like cauterization and shit, but also like can interact with other pyrokinetics to help use their flames to heal them.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, a large part of whether he'll survive this and be able to use his pyrokinesis depends on how strong his fires are. Okay.
Okay, that's an Adola burst. Okay.
This might actually work. So that's the next last episode. The final episode basically, is Shinra coming back home after getting out of the hospital.
Yeah.
But we get a little flashback to when Burns shows up to basically say, okay, kid, yeah, so I'm happy you survived this. I kind of lied to you about what happened to your mother and your brother because I kind of didn't want you getting involved in all this because, the fewer people who get involved in all this shit, I didn't think you actually get particularly powerful, and you just die trying to save your brother and shit. And I didn't want to see you get yourself killed. Turns out you became actually pretty powerful, so yeah. My plan didn't work, but it's okay. Oh, you're actually upset about lying. Yeah, I understand why you'd be upset about me with lying about it.
I understand why you're upset about that. I would be too. That makes perfect sense.
But I'm not going to tell you everything unless you can show me that you're actually strong enough to actually deal with the truth. So we're going to spar. And this time I'm actually going to try. And Shinra's like, okay. And this sparring starts, and the nurse shows up. She's like, no.
To which the chaplain of the first shows up and like, look, just leave them to it. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
You're not going to be able to stop them anyway.
You can't you're not stopping Burns. We found out Burns is just like a towering inferno of raw power.
Yeah.
So the long short of it, Burns basically explains that yeah, I did know about it. He tells us sort of the story of what happened. Yeah, the whole thing happened is the Evangelist basically forcibly infernalized your brother and ignited his Adola burst, which caused your powers to manifest and turned your mom into a demon, horn demon. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you know about the whole evangelist and the whole like fiery inferno of hell area thing, right? So yeah, that's how I lost my eye looking at the evangelist. You can't really do that without like losing your eyes burning out of your head. Maybe more powerful though, but yeah, that's why I wear an eye patch. As a random aside, one thing I've noticed, and I this is a theory. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Joker is constantly covering his left eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
I think Joker may have done something similar to what Burns did. That
would be very interesting to see, actually.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, all of this further reinforces that my theory that the evangelist is Lucifer.
Or the rough equivalent,
the representation we see of him has 6 brass wings hanging from a broken halo. So,
I will also say of them, we don't know. We cannot tell the evangelist's gender.
This is true.
We have no fucking clue.
As the general thing,
it's a dude on a well, I say dude. It's a figure on a golden throne or brass throne. We in the white robes with the hood down, and the only thing you can see is just the smile on the face.
It's a really cool image. Like seriously,
hang from it. Yeah, if he's not Lucifer, they're certainly playing up the connection.
Oh, I think it's sort of the rough equivalent stand-in is my gut feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's roughly where basically Shinra gets back, and basically everyone's like happy to see him. I mean, they legitimately are all very happy to see him. They're like, yay, you're alive! Well, except Arthur.
Well, Arthur is also clearly happy to see him alive, but isn't about to admit it. That's bullshit. That's not how their relationship works.
Like, even Tamaki is like, yeah, I'm glad you're alive. Just stay over there.
Like honestly, as near as I can tell, Shinra and Arthur are actually best friends, but they can't admit it at all.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They're best frenemies.
Yeah. You know, and Tamaki definitely has a thing for him, but she can't admit it.
Right.
Whereas Hibana has a thing for him and sort of admits it, actually, but just is really sort of like, why do I have a thing for this guy? God damn it.
Yeah, Hibana clearly has a thing for him, is aware of it, and is unhappy that she does.
Yeah, she has absolutely no intention to act on it whatsoever.
That's not entirely true. Again, as I said, she has that moment where she like seriously considers basically taking him back for Snoo Snoo, like when he's tied up. She's like, well, I've got him all tied up. No one will know.
Oh, Iris is in trouble. You need to go help her out.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that's basically the show. He basically, he gives his report to Obi, and they reaffirm that their plans of basically trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Because we found out what's going on, and it's made us ask what the fuck is actually going on.
It's very much how did this happen? That just raises further questions.
I mean, it's not the giant kick in the dick cliffhanger that King what's it face left us with?
No Game, No Life?
No.
Oh,
you know which one. Code Geass, yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It ends with a question. There's a big difference.
Big difference, yeah. But I am glad that the second season's not only been announced; it's basically almost upon us.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah. I think it's this summer, if I remember correctly. But yeah,
I would call bullshit if there was no second season.
But yeah, that is Fire Force. Final thoughts. So I guess I start, then Eric, then Gav, because it was Gav's selection. I really like the show. I had a lot of fun. Gav made a point towards the end when Shinra started developing his lightspeed powers, and then while he retains some of the tricks he got from that, he doesn't have the raw power to go to lightspeed anymore after not being around his brother. So I'm okay with that, actually, it turns out.
Yeah.
The power escalation wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. There was power escalation, but most of it made sense, and a lot of it came from training and actual proper envisioning of how to change to manipulate his abilities. The way there's a mini training bit with the 7th, which is actually really cool. Where there's a big moment that, like, you know, Benoit basically says to Shinra, okay, look, dude, your basics are actually really good, but you have no finishing move. You got to work on that. Arthur, all you have is a finishing move.
You need to work on
Your basics are
everything
shit.
else.
Also, stop announcing when you're going to attack somebody. Also, it's like, yeah, okay, so you guys like, you're really bad at, like, not being ready for being attacked. But that's, like, exhausting me on your edge all the time. Yeah, okay, here's the deal. Here's how I do it and how it doesn't exhaust me. You basically sort of sense the energy, like, sort of the life of, like, everyone's life around, like, everyone's life energy. And, you know, you pay attention to you're not thinking about death, you're thinking about life. And that basically causes you to relax, and so while you're attuned to what's going on, you're not on edge. And assuming you can sort of actually do that, that makes a lot of goddamn sense. Assuming you're actually able to detect life energy in some way, shape, or form. And given that pyrokinetics, sure, why not?
That training actually comes up in the Nether when
Arthur Arthur makes very good use of it.
Yeah, and because turns out Arthur's also probably the most perceptive one there. He's just an idiot.
Yes. He's very perceptive, just very dumb. But he picks up he learns the lesson very well. He's extremely good at it turns out. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. There's a lot of it is sort of your classic sort of, you know, martial arts chi claptrap, you know, which, you know, is probably bullshit. But in a world where there's pyrokinesis, sure, why not? And it helped the whole, like, learning about martial arts and chi helps Shinra focus his fires, and it helps Arthur, you know, not be a colossal moron in combat. But yeah, it's actually really cool. I really appreciated that scene. And again, so all the power escalation makes sense. Like, it's either through training we see and have explained to us, or through acquisition of new gear that we have explained to us and how it works.
Mm.
Even if the explanation is kind of like, you know, comic book bullshit. But it's comic book bullshit, so whatever.
Everybody likes comic book bullshit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun show. And again, I love the 8th. They're great characters and a lot of fun. The villains are. Vincent Price would be proud of how much scenery they chew. It's great. Like, they devour the scenery, and Joker and Victor are wonderful wildcard characters. So, you know, they do a really good job with it. I really enjoyed the show, and the voice acting is top notch across the board, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is amazing considering the guy who voices Shinra in the Japanese, only other voice credit is Asta from Black Clover, and
He's improved.
I honestly, I think it's just that they got a better voice director. I'm
probably
betting
right, but yeah.
Like, I want to give props to the direction of the show, the voice direction, because they do a really good job. Whoever's doing it did a great job. But yeah, and the music, the in-show music's really good. The first opening and ending are great. We were less fond of the second opening music, and the second ending music.
The second opening was just new metal, man. New metal.
It's new metal, and it made me laugh because I thought it was hilariously bad. So yeah, Eric, you're up. But yeah, long story short, I liked it.
Well, I had good things to say until it reminded me that new metal existed.
It validates.
To be, in all seriousness, I also really enjoyed this show. It's a feast for the eyes. It's well directed. The animation's great. I enjoy pretty much all of the characters. My one criticism with it is it just doesn't do anything exceptionally new or innovative. It's it's very much your bog standard shonen show, except with fire. But it does it well, and that means something.
Yep.
And the animation's great. Like, you can see a couple places where they cut corners, but the animation always steps up what it needs to in that last arc down in the Nether. Like, it's always on. um, like, yeah, a lot of these characters are great. I'm excited to see more Vulcan because I think I'm probably going to really enjoy him because he builds crazy batshit insane technology and wears skulls all the time, and which is just neat.
Vulcan is how Eric would play a scientist character.
Vulcan is how I played scientist characters. um, yeah, I don't have a lot of bad to say about it, and the good stuff is Peter already said. Like, also Arthur is quickly becoming my favorite character.
Sure, I can
Like,
see that.
the more I see Arthur do stuff, like he is funny, good-hearted, and just I don't know. I'm really starting to enjoy Arthur.
I really liked Arthur. I really liked Arthur.
Arthur and Mackie are clearly the two best characters. Fight me.
Arthur and Maki? Yeah,
Yes.
sure. I can accept that. Obi's in the conversation too.
No. Obi's there. Obi's a close 3.
Those 3 are all great. I can't rank them one over the other. Honestly, I love all 3 of them to pieces. And again, I like Shinra too. Like I like him a lot.
Shinra's fine. Shinra's a good shonen protagonist, but I've never been. The protagonist is almost never my favorite character in these shows.
That's fair.
So, but yeah, no, I would recommend go seeing it. Just don't expect anything as like amazing as Mob Psycho 2 or mind bending as Steins Gate or.
Yeah, it's not one of these shows.
It's not one of those shows. It's a shonen action series with fire and zaniness. So yeah, if that's what you're looking for, you cannot go wrong with this.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I just echo what these guys have already said. Really, it's not doing anything spectacular, anything innovative, but it's doing what it's doing well, which in a lot of cases means it's already like above a lot of other shows.
Oh yeah,
it's sticking to the basics, but it's trying. You know, it's not just sailing through. It's not an also ran just throw into the bucket. It's a good show. Peter touched on my main problem with the show. The power advancement for me was a little quick. Yeah, they explain where we got, where we are, where we get to. And yes, we understand why Shinra's got to that level that quick because he's feeding off that power. But it also means that we have a character in this show that, feeding off that power, can freeze the entropy of the universe itself in season 1. And our hero, it's not just that he could travel faster than the speed of light. As the scientist dude, Victor, explains, because he's doing that, he's literally killing himself. His body is breaking down into atomic particles, and he's basically becoming a quantum event. Because he passes the speed of light, he's instantly reversing time and putting himself back together. This is season 1. I get they've explained why we've got there. Where the fuck do we go from here?
We'll find out.
I mean, look, I like this show. I do like this show. I am looking forward to season 2. But, man... like I said, I tell a lie. There is, again, and this is a common issue. It's the darkness thing all over again. With Tamaki. I've forgotten her name already. Tamaki, yeah. That joke is driven into the floor. They do pull it back every now and again because, as Eric said, two or three times they use it is great. But Christ, give us something to do other than that. At least Darkness had some awesome moments that wasn't resolved just around that. Tamaki is a one-note joke. And the worst part about it is she's hinting that she could be so much more. But it feels like the writers aren't letting her be. Like, this is your role. You do not get to be awesome. You do not get, Maki's doing that. We have Maki for the female that gets to do awesome shit. You don't get to do that.
Mm.
And it's like, no, guys, she's got a cool power set. She's got ability. She's by far the most agile of any member of the party because she's got fucking cat powers. Go with that. Don't just fucking degrade her into being the cat girl that gets her tits out. For fuck's sake, you've got a really cool character there if you use her.
And maybe they will in season 2. We'll see.
I really hope they do. But yeah, there we go. That's literally my, you've covered every other.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Gav. Honestly, I feel mostly the same way.
Wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. I have less of an issue with that joke than you guys do.
It's not so much of an issue with it. It's like, right, take into account that Iris is quite often featured naked too. You get a lot of fan service out of Iris. She is still treated with immensely more respect than Tamaki is.
Sure. No. I understand your criticisms. Certainly,
Yep.
I get it. It's just.
Yeah, honestly, it's mostly just the timing of the joke gets to me occasionally.
The timing of the joke is the issue.
Yeah.
And they use it a little bit too often.
Thing,
but other than that, yeah.
It's the sort of like, it's puerile humor, but not even being used cleverly. It's just like, look, she's naked. All right.
I honestly laughed more than you guys did.
You did. Yeah, that's fair.
I would like to say I have no problem with that kind of humor whatsoever, but it's just like, at least be clever with it.
And when they were, it was really funny.
Yeah.
To be fair, in the Nether, when it's like the big scary guy and she bumps into him and he accidentally feels her up and he freaks out for a minute, and then Iris does the thing. That was awesome.
See, Iris doing the thing is what makes that scene great.
Well, to be fair, also, Tamaki does get a moment of pure awesome right before it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the only time we see Iris do anything cool or badass. Like, she's very much the the damsel in distress for a lot of the show.
It cuts
Turns
back
out she'll beat the fuck out of an asshole with a lead pipe.
It cuts back afterwards on the way out. Like, it's in the Nether, and as Peter mentioned with the earthquakes going off, they get the fuck out, and it does this thing where it goes back to like the areas where they each had their individual fights, and like you see the subway car where the lieutenant had his fight, and this and it cuts back to where Tamaki and Iris were fighting, and there's just a lead pipe on the floor covered in blood.
There's a lead pipe on the floor covered in blood, and a mosaic filter over where the guy's head is.
Yeah. I mean, the guy deserved it, so, At any rate, that is Fire Force. That's definitely 3 thumbs up. We really enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
Recommend it.
This is a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, so next time, it's my choice again.
Yep.
And I had not decided until just now. I've been flip-flopping between a whole bunch of different stuff, and I really couldn't decide, so I literally just rolled the die. And it came up with Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
All right.
So a nice little short series to go through. It's like
That sounds especially like Feelings.
it's a comedy, Gav.
That'll do.
Very honest. They told me the same thing about Toradora, but I still cried my eyes out of that show.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We will be back when we finish Kaguya-sama. And thanks for watching. Actually, we might be back before then if the special episode we're considering doing happens. We'll see. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.